what else should a tier one agent be doing to build their business?
All right. Well, this is stuff nobody likes hearing this, and I'm just going to tell your audience right now, guys, everybody that's listening to me right now, you're going to hate what I'm going to say next.
This is my favorite part.
Here's the deal. I don't care if you hate me or not. I'm not here to get you to like me. Okay. Number one, you need to go to a physical office every day. Oh, but Michael, I'm in a virtual brokerage. I don't care. Okay. That's why you're broke. All right. Not because of the brokerage you belong to, but because you're not going to a physical office every day. You need to go to an environment where there are other people besides just you sitting around, making phone calls, working hard for success. Listen, I got news for you, Snowflake. You and I both know you're not more productive there, because what happens is you're like, okay, I'm going to go make calls now. And then, oh, wait a minute. Like, this is what your day looks like. And you end up squirreling off on all this garbage stuff that's not making you money.
Question's always going to come up from that tier one agent, whatever tier you're on. Doing 9 listings a month in their first month, but what kind of leads are there? Where are the leads coming from? How are they getting the leads? Who are they calling? I mean, there's just so many agents in our area. We're saturated with agents, and how's he getting 9 listings in his first month? What's the answer there, Michael?
Here's the answer. You're asking the wrong questions. Stop asking about the nuance and the details of all the things that you're being told, and ask, what do you want me to do next? And go freaking do it. Because I'm telling you right now, if you're on a team of any reputation whatsoever, if you're on a team that's even remotely good, the team leader, and by the way, there's lots of great team leaders out there. There's lots of them. And if you've got a team leader worth their salt, they're going to tell you exactly what to do every single day. They're going to give you the scripting. They're going to give you the people to call. Don't question the leads, because I got news for you. The leads don't suck.
We know all real estate agents want to acquire clients consistently so that they can grow their business and income for that great lifestyle. This broadcast brings you the best and top people in the industry to support that quest. This is Dave Fanale, and I'm here to bring you the Real Estate Skill Builder broadcast, Real Estate Talk TGIF, brought to you by Real Estate Skill Builder and Align, your premier real estate solution. Again, good morning, everybody. Real Estate Talk TGIF, episode 381. Today's guest, he doesn't play small. He's built teams. He's built his own business. He's built a great coaching business. He's earned a reputation of saying the things most agents are scared to admit. If you're ready for straight talk and really what it's going to take to grow a business, I suggest you buckle up, because we're going to give you some straight talk today. And that's what we've been really doing a lot, and we will continue to do. People have criticized me for being the aggressive arrogance of the real estate guys, and I don't care. But today we have Michael Hellickson of Club Wealth. Michael, thanks so much for coming on, man.
Dude, glad to be here. It's funny you talk about the straight talk and being able to willing and able to say things that others won't, man. Life's just too short for BS. At the end of the day, there's only a few things that actually work in this business, and there's a lot of talk from a lot of people that have never actually built things in this business that want to tell agents how to be successful in it. I got to tell you, first piece of advice I'd give everybody watching this right now is stop listening to people who haven't been where you want to go. If you want to get to the top of Mount Everest, you need a guide who's actually been to the top of Mount Everest before.
And here we are. We're at the top of Mount Everest with this gentleman right here. But hey, man, I got 2 things I want to get started with. One is a simple question I ask everybody on this broadcast. What does TGIF stand for?
Do you mean what does the acronym stand for, or what does the show stand for?
No, TGI. Well, that's your interpretation, but there's only one answer.
Thank goodness it's Friday.
You're really close, man. I appreciate the try. I appreciate the effort. Thank God it's Fanale. I'm sorry. What it is, what it's been. I did not plan that. It's just when I named the show over 7 years ago, I said, Real Estate, TGIF. Because it's going to be on Friday, right? So I said, that makes sense. And then all of a sudden, someone said that to me like in the 3rd episode. Anyway,
that's awesome,
Michael. Your story is voluminous. You've been around a while. You've built your own real estate business to building a great coaching company where you have requirements in order to get into your coaching company. You've actually begun to grow your own son, help your son grow his business as the top listing agent in the country. It's really very cool. So talk to me about the intricacies of your growth. I mean, you had setbacks, I would imagine.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Talk to me about the good and the bad and the ugly of growing the life of Michael Hellickson?
Well, that's a great question. So we'll start with the good. That kind of my claim to fame is that from about 2006, 2011, I was the number one agent on planet Earth. I was closing 120 to 180 transactions a year at a time. I'm sorry, a month, not a year, a month at a time, when number two and number three were combined doing about half that. And by the way, back then that was a lot of business, right? A lot of people doing that kind of business today,
Right.
but it wasn't the case back then. And by the way, number two and number three, both better looking than me, smarter than me, better marketers than me, better salespeople than me. What was different about what I did? Some people say, was it your team was different? Did you have a better team? No, these guys had great teams as well. What was really, truly different, it really came down to two things. Number one, I was more consistent. And number two, I had better systems. So, I think about Dave, what you've done with the show. And that's why I was complimenting on your consistency earlier. There is nothing more important in business than consistency. Now, that being said, if you're consistently delivering the wrong, a bad product, well, then you're not going to succeed. But the best product in the world, unless you are applying the right systems consistently, will fail. And so that consistently really made a big difference. We were also carrying about 750 listings in active and pending status in any given time during that time. So literally, I've actually closed more single family residential real estate than any other human being to ever walk the planet. So that's pretty exciting. But here's the real key is it's not all been sunshine and roses. There was some stuff getting there.
Yeah.
And there was stuff when I got there. So I started selling real estate in high school. I got all my credits early, so I wouldn't have to go to school second semester, and started selling real estate the second half of my senior year. And I didn't know what I didn't know. So I was going out and I was taking listings at 8 and 10% when most of the agents in the marketplace at that point in time were lucky to get them for 6 or 7. And I didn't know any better. I didn't know that wasn't normal or whatever.
Right.
Right. Yeah. And so I just did it. And I was literally the top listing agent in my office before I graduated high school. I made a lot of people mad. And we had a pretty sizable office. But it's not, that doesn't speak to my sales skills. It speaks to really a couple of things. Number one, again, I was consistent. I showed up every day. I put the work in every day. I just did simple things every day that led to success. Number two, I was willing to ask for things that other people weren't willing to ask for because I didn't know any better. So I always asked for the close on every appointment. At times when probably other people may not have asked for the close, I was getting the listing because I asked the question. It was really simple things like that led to that early success. So I hope everybody's hearing this loud and clear. It doesn't matter where you're starting. It doesn't matter, if you have great sales skills or not. It doesn't matter if you have the right resume or not. If you show up, do the work, and are just consistent every single day, chances are you're going to have pretty good success in this business. So go ahead. Did you have something else?
You asked for things that other agents didn't. And was that just like saying, hey, sign here, can I have the listing? I mean, what was that? I mean, is it that simple, Michael?
I'll tell you one of the scripts that I've used I've been on over 10,000 listing appointments, literally. And one of the scripts that I learned early in my career that has just absolutely crushed it for me is at the end of every appointment, after I go through my checklist that I'm talking to them about, I'm ready to get them to sign on the dotted line. I simply ask them, and I hope everybody's looking at my eyes as I say this. I just would shake my head back and forth and I would say, are there any other questions before we get started on the paperwork?
I love that, man. It's just simple what you just did. I was teaching something like that the other day to an agent that was having difficulty. And I said, when you talk to them, and we're ready to sign this listing, weren't we?
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing how 9 times out of 10 agents don't even ask for the business. They're too afraid to just ask for the business. And you'd be surprised. In fact, I had an agent, a good agent that I was listening to. They were speaking here just the other day. And they said they were walking out of this listing appointment and they didn't go for the close. And on the way out, they were getting ready to get up and walk out the door. And the seller stopped them and said, well, isn't this where you asked me to sign the listing? And it's like, guys, literally, we have these hangups about, should I ask or not? And the matter is always ask. You just never know. All right. So that was a big component of it. So time went on. I started, I eventually, one of the first things I did was I got a coach, and I'm a huge believer in coaching. I've coached with most of the names that most of the people that are watching this would recognize, and learned something from each one of them. One of the things that I learned in coaching with a lot of other people was that each of them had a component, right? There's the all prospecting guy, there's the all referrals guy, there's the all online guy, there's the all whatever people, right? And what I realized is that you can't take that myopic a view to this industry. You've really got to understand that you've got to have a lot of these pieces, and your cocktail of what's perfect for you is going to be a little bit different than the person next to you. But there's just a handful of things that you've got to have in your business. Otherwise, you really create a ceiling beyond which it's very difficult to achieve any greater heights. And so I started piecing these together. First, it was the all prospecting guy, and then it was the all referrals guy, and then it was a team building guy. And I started really learning from all these different people, putting all the pieces together, and I started building my team. One of the very first things I did was I hired an assistant. I wasn't sure I could afford it.
Right.
And frankly, I knew I couldn't afford it. I was committing to paying her more per year than I'd ever made in a year at that point. And I was scared to death, but I had a credit card, and I thought, well, worst case scenario, I'll just put it on my credit card, roll the dice, we'll see how it goes. And so fortunately it worked out, and my production immediately went up because now I was able to focus on the things that I need to be doing every day instead of, doing $20 an hour tasks. Well, back then, instead of doing $10 an hour tasks,
Right.
I was able to, or less, right? Actually, I think that first year, I think I had to commit to paying her $24,000 that year was the amount that I brought her on at. That was in 1991 or 92, somewhere in there. Anyway, long story short, I brought her on, and I was able to focus on higher level tasks that paid more, namely, getting voice to voice and face to face with clients. And I started crushing it. Things started going really well. And fast forward 4 years from there, she became my wife, and that's when I went to work for her. And that's been a great relationship ever since. But that said, I learned a lot during the time, hired multiple other assistants, started hiring help with showings. Then I hired buyer agents, and the team just grew from there. And I got to a point where eventually we were the number one team on planet Earth. Well, in 2007, I encountered the biggest hiccup I've ever experienced in my career. And it started in 2007, culminated in 2010. What happened was I caught the state of Washington Department of Real Estate Licensing breaking the law. They would knock on your door, and they'd do these random audits. Hey, we want to see all your files. Well, they came knocking on my door one day, and these aren't a big deal. We've been through these audits before.
I'm well aware of them.
Oh yeah, they're not that big a deal. Really, what they're looking for is trust fund violations, right? Yeah. They're looking for people that are misallocating funds from trust funds.
Right.
That's generally the number one thing they're looking for. And we didn't even keep a trust account. We just sent all of our earnest money directly to escrow because we didn't want to even touch it. We don't want any part of that.
You're ahead of your time, man. Ahead of your time.
It was, and it was really, that was the right way to do it. It was clean, and it kept us out of trouble, right? And so long story short, they came knocking on my door, but I happened to be in Dallas. I was visiting Fannie Mae, Bank of America, Nation Star, a bunch of my REO clients down there in Dallas. So at the time, about half my business was REO and half was retail. And so I called my attorney up and I said, hey, can you go do this audit for me? And he says, well, no, I'm in court for another client. Just tell him to go away. I'm like, oh, I can't tell him to go away. It's the state, right? I mean, really? Tell him to go away? He says, yeah, just tell them to go away. It's an illegal search and seizure. They know it. It's not a big deal. They'll go away. So I called my director of first impressions back. She's our receptionist. And I said, hey, just go ahead and have them come back in 2 weeks when I'm back in town. Well, they left and they came back the next day with a subpoena. Apparently they didn't think that was very funny that we were, putting them off for a couple of weeks. So now I'm freaking out. I'm still in Dallas. So I called my attorney back. I said, Doug, what do I do? And he says, just authorize me $1,500. I'll go take care of it. Okay. So he goes and takes him to court the next day. And he gets a court order that says that not only can they never audit me again, because I owned my brokerage at the time, right? He got a court order that said they could no longer audit anybody in the state, any other brokers in the state ever again. So he effectively shut down their entire auditing department. And let me tell you, they didn't like that. Not at all. They don't like being told that they're doing something wrong. They want to be able to tell you you're doing something wrong. And so The very next week, they hired a gal named Robin Jones, whose full-time job it was to look for any client that had ever had a concern with doing business with me. So she literally contacted every buyer, every seller, every title company, escrow company, lender, other agents, everybody she could find that had ever been in a transaction with us. And she would write complaints on state letterhead, send them to them, and ask them to sign them. She contacted over 2,000 people in 17 and a half months. And out of those 2,000 people, she got 21 letters back. 18 of them were from all from this same office. It was a broker's office. He and I didn't get along. I didn't like him. He didn't like me anymore, and I liked him. And he told his agents, he said, if you don't sign this letter, then I'm going to terminate your employment here. In fact, one of his agents was so upset by that. He had 19 agents in his office. 18 of them signed the letter. And the one that didn't was upset by the way he had approached this and came and wanted to find out for herself what it was like at our office. She ended up joining our team.
Yeah, figured that. That figures. Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? Really nice gal too. Really nice gal. But long story short, so there was another 3 letters. The other 3 letters that got signed were from short sale sellers, and they had the same complaint. And that was that we didn't get their deficiency waived, which, as you know, if you've ever done a short sale, we didn't have any control over.
Right.
And so literally after 2,000 attempts to find dirt on us, there wasn't a legitimate complaint in the bunch, which I got to be honest with you, that felt really good. I mean, to go through that kind of I was very happy with that. And so they sent us a letter saying, hey, we did this investigation. We're going to drop it. It looks like you're doing everything you're supposed to do. Well, fast forward to 2010. We moved our office. And back in the day when they were doing those audits, if you move your office, that triggered a random audit. Well, we moved our office, and guess who came knocking on our door again?
The auditor.
But we have a court order that says you're not supposed to do these audits anymore. And so they're not even legally allowed to do the audits anymore. And yet here they were knocking on my door. So I called my attorney up and I said, now what do I do? He says, well, now you have to take them back to court and enforce your court order, because if you don't, you're complicit and the court order goes away. And he said, even if it's not to protect you, you have to do it to protect the rest of the brokers in the state. And so I said, okay, well, what do you need? And he said, well, just authorize me $1,500 and I'm going to take care of it. It's always $1,500 with you guys. I should say it always starts at $1,500.
Right, yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, they must all go to a seminar on, how to get your clients for big bucks. Start with $1,500. I don't know. Anyway, so he takes them to court the next day. And while we're waiting to hear back for court dates and all this, that Friday at 5:30 p.m., they hit send on an email suspending my real estate license and telling the MLS to cancel my 750 active and pending listings. There was no warning. There was no, hey, we think you're doing anything wrong. It was just clearly, the best defense is a great offense. And so their thought was, well, hey, if we just take this guy's license, maybe he'll go away. Well, I lost I had $4.5 million in pending commissions that day. Not to mention the probably over $100 million, I would assume, that it cost me in lifetime career value. And they dodged me for 30 days. It took me 30 days to get them in front of a judge. When I finally got them in front of a judge, what do you think the judge said?
Judge was not happy with them.
Judge was pissed. Judge flipped out on him. I mean, yelling at the attorney general in open court, literally yelling, saying, you violated this person's civil rights in 3 different ways. And by the way, ruled that they were grossly negligent for taking our licenses to begin with, made them give us our licenses back. Now, get this. This is the real kicker. How much do you think we got in damages?
Tell me.
0, because the state has express and implied immunity. So all the listings were gone, all the staff was gone, everything was gone, and it took and I got 0 in compensation from the state because of this express and implied immunity. And I'll tell you that after that, they kept trying to come after me for other stuff, and so I spent about $356,000, which back then was a lot of money. And I spent this money fighting them. I beat them every time I went to court with them. And finally, I looked at my wife and I said, they're never going to stop coming. We've embarrassed them. We have gotten on the radar, and we have shown the world that they're not obeying their own laws. They're breaking the law, and they don't like that. And they have to make an example of us. I said, this is never going to stop, and I'm going to have a heart attack and die if we don't do something different. So with her permission, after a lot of prayer, we decided to go ahead and sell the company. And I did. I sold my company, and I thought I was going to retire. This was now we're in 2011. I thought, I'm just going to retire. I've got plenty of money, and I'm going to go ahead and just, live my life. Well, that was fun for a year. And then it was okay for another year. And then by the third year, it's like, okay, this kind of sucks. Like this retirement thing's not what I heard it was supposed to be. It's just not, I mean, I don't golf. I mean, shuffleboard's kind of boring. I mean, like, what am I going to do? Like what the, I mean, I'm a young guy. I got young kids. I mean, what the heck am I going to do? And, we traveled the world at that point. We'd, done all the stuff with the kids. And I started getting phone calls from my past coaching clients, real estate agents and teams that I'd coached. And several of them were saying, hey, look, you need to get back into the coaching business and you need to come help us with our teams. And so after a lot of thought and a lot of prayer, Tara and I realized, that's really what we enjoy. That's really where our heart's at, is helping other people grow. And
Right.
And so we decided to get back into coaching, and we rebuilt Club Wealth, completely redesigned it from the ground up. We started asking ourselves questions like, what's really going to help a real estate agent move their business forward? What's really going to matter, right? Not what can we sell? I don't care what we can sell. What's going to make a difference, right? There's a big difference between what can I make money on and what's going to help them make money.
Exactly.
Right? And so we built it with that in mind. And that starting point for that was every one of our coaches had to sell more real estate than the people they coached. And we're the only company, even to this day, we're the only company in the country that has that, which is surprising to me, honestly. I really don't understand why somebody would, that's doing 40, 50 transactions a year, trying to get to 400 transactions a year, would take advice from somebody who did 4 deals last year. Like, that makes no sense to me. So long story short, that was the biggest hurdle I had. And one of the lessons I learned from all of that, and I would love it if everybody would write this down, because it really is poignant, and I think it'll really help everybody in their business. You can be right or you can be rich. Pick one. And, we were right, but that didn't mean they couldn't come after us. That didn't mean that, we weren't going to lose a bunch of money in that fight. And I think about this in terms of coaching and learning in this business. And, so many people, they have this desire to get to a certain place, and they have this belief that they know the way to get there. And they allow their ego to suppress their humility, and they allow their ego to get ahead of them, and they don't listen to people that have been where they want to go, and they miss out. And this business is not a complicated one. It's actually pretty straightforward and pretty easy to, once you know the steps, once you've got the right systems in place, it's just about discipline and hard work from there. So, go ahead.
Let's talk about the steps. Let's talk about the systems. Let's talk about the nitty gritty of getting started as a real estate agent, and how to get rich, how to do that business, because obviously you had a path and you fumbled along the way, but you went along and grew and grew and grew because you built systems and you figured out that you needed to replace yourself as time went on.
Yep.
But where's the start, right? Is it lead generation? Is it systems? Is it CRM? Yeah. I mean, what is it, Michael?
You're asking the right question. So there's 7 tiers in real estate, right? Tier 1 is agents that close 0 to 25 transactions per year. Tier 2 is 25 to 75. Tier 3 is 75 to 150. Tier 4 is 150 to 250. Tier 5 is 250 to 500. Tier 6 is 500 to 1,000. And Tier 7 is 1,000 units per year and more. So everything depends. Everything you should be doing today depends on which tier you're in. So if I'm in Tier 1, let's assume that we're talking to the Tier 1s so far at this point.
Right. Yeah, that's the majority of the agents.
That's absolutely. So I'm whether I'm new or experienced, doesn't matter. If I'm in Tier 1, then first and foremost, we have to understand that I have more time than money when I'm in Tier 1, right? So what I'm not going to do, right, because there's 3 things you have to do to grow your business. You got to lead generate, lead follow up, and lead convert, right? Those 3 things are mission critical. Without them, you're out of business. But I can't afford things like Zillow and Realtor.com and, the expensive lead sources out there and the expensive systems and all that kind of stuff. And so I have to make up for that with my effort in the early stages when I'm in Tier 1, for example. So really there's 5 things we do. First of all, should you have a CRM? Yes. You don't need an expensive CRM, but you've got to have a CRM.
Right.
And now I'll tell you, there's ways that, there's actually some creative ways. There's some resources that you can use to get great CRMs for little or no money. We don't have time to go into that here, but at the end of the day, yes, you do need to have a CRM. You should not be using just a spreadsheet or your phone for, your CRM or anything like that. You need a real CRM. that CRM, really what it has to do, the number one I should say the key features it's got to have, it's got to track name, phone number, email address, and then next follow-up date. It's nice if it's got a notes field. I mean, really every CRM on the planet has those things. That's really all you need. There's other things that CRMs can do that are fantastic and that can help you in lots of ways. But the core things that it has to do, it just has to have that next follow-up date and ideally some notes. All right. So that said, there are 5 ways I can lead generate when I'm in tier 1 that don't cost. And really, this is not just tier 1, but tier 2 also. And so in tiers 1 and tier 2, the 5 things I can do that are essentially free or low cost that will bring me business right now. FSBOs, expireds, cold calls, open houses, sphere of influence. I'll give them to you again. FSBOs, expireds, cold calls, open houses, sphere of influence. Any one of those 5 things, if you just did it 20 hours a week, would make you at least 1 to 1.5 times your average sales price in your marketplace in annual commissions. It's really that simple. And so the problem though is, and here's why 87% of the real estate agents that get their license today will not renew their license on their first renewal. Why is that? And by the way, it's also why 74% of the agents in the business last year didn't sell a single house.
No.
Right? Why is that? Because they're freaking lazy. I mean, I'm just going to be real with you. If you're not lazy, if you show up 20 hours a week and you do exactly what I'm telling you right here, you are going to make at least what your average sales price is in your marketplace if you just did that every day. So for 74% of the agents not to have sold a house, there's only one reason why, and that is 100% laziness. Period. End of story. All right. Now, that said, a lot of people want it to be their sphere of influence, but they treat their sphere of influence. There's a difference between working my sphere of influence and getting business through word of mouth. Okay. Most people, when they talk about sphere, they're really talking about hopefully getting business word of mouth, but there's no system behind it. There's no system behind how do I ensure that I'm going to get that business, right?
Yeah, there's so many agents out there that will do a couple of deals. They'll get a couple of people that they'll send them a couple of people and say, I do business by referral. That's bullshit.
That's exactly right. I agree 100% with you. It's a complete waste of that. And that's like saying, I was walking down the street one day and I dropped a business card and didn't realize it. And then later on, somebody picked it up and they called me and I ended up selling them a house. Well, okay, that's great that happened, but that's a terrible business plan. I mean, really, so you go around town just dropping your business card on the ground all over the place? That's a horrible business plan.
Correct, sir.
And so essentially what we need to do is we need to do things that are duplicatable, repeatable, and provide predictable results. Okay. And all 5 of the things I just gave you can do that. Now we can go deep on 1 or 2 of these things. We don't have time to go deep on all of them, but I'll tell you right now, for the last 3 years, open houses have been on fire. We're getting consistently 25 to 150 people out to every one of the, I shouldn't say every, but consistently 25 to 150 people to most of the open house we're doing. Averages right around 45 people per open house. There's a checklist to follow, right? It's very simple. You just got to follow the checklist and do the work and you get it. What cracks me up, I'll give you a great example of a mistake people make with open houses. They'll spend 10, 15 minutes, going out, putting up 2, 3, 4 signs. And then they'll sit for 3 hours in the house and hope that somebody shows up. How stupid is that? What you should do is go spend an hour putting up 50 signs and then go sit in the house for 2 hours and start collecting money. Man, people will show up. You'll end up making money. And people say, oh, but Michael, what if the city takes my signs? What is it going to hurt your feelings, cupcake? I mean, come on, snowflake, dry your eyes and get to work. I mean, who cares if the city takes your signs? What's a sign cost? $5? Right. And so and by the way, you can actually get custom signs. We've got resources where you can get custom signs for $5 a sign, right? Nice big ones. And so if the city takes 50 of your signs, that's $250. Man, some of the people watching this right now, Dave, they're spending more than that in freaking Starbucks and energy drinks a month. Right. And they don't want to invest that in their business on signs. I mean, you guys are killing me. Like, let's make better decisions. Okay. Let's make good choices. So that's just an example of things we can do to get better traction on these simple tools. Go ahead. Did you have a question before I go to Sphere?
No, keep going. Let
me tell you about Sphere then. So sphere of influence is another great example, right? People talk about, I got to do pop buys and I got to do, all this, the cap items and all this other garbage. Dude, are you kidding me? That stuff, the cap items is a great example. That's so somebody, and I'm not going to name any names, but that's so that a particular coach can have a continuity product that you're paying them on every month. That's why they came out with that. Not because it works, but because they want to make money in their business. Stop falling for this charlatan BS stuff that's just shiny objects. Okay. If you want to make money in your sphere of influence, here's what you got to do. First of all, you got to write down how many people do you have in your sphere of influence. National average is 250 people. Okay. So I'm going to do 4 client events per year. That's it. Just got to do 4 client events per year, 1 per quarter. Then what I'm going to do is 3 weeks. And by the way, the event doesn't have to be expensive. It could be a barbecue. It could be photos of Santa, Easter egg hunt. There's all kinds of things we can do. But we're going to do our 4 client events per year. Then what we're going to do is 3 weeks before the event, obviously we're going to email, text message, post on social media, send a snail mail. We're going to do all the marketing we can to get people to our event. But here's where you make the money, right? In fact, let me see if I got a pen. Can you see this whiteboard behind me? Let's watch this.
Yeah, we can.
Everybody write this down. BROT. That's how you make money with your sphere right there. That stands for building relationships on trust. Okay. Everybody's heard that people need to know, like, and trust you to do business with you, right? Guess what? It's not true. Let me be very clear about this. They don't have to like you to do business with you. When you go out to list somebody's house, there's only 3 things they care about, and you're not one of them. What are the 3 things they care about? Who's going to get me the most amount of money in the least amount of time with the least amount of headache to me? They don't care about anything else. Okay. So guess what? It's not about liking you. It's about trusting that you're the person that's going to get them the most amount of money in the least amount of time with the least amount of headache. That's it. If you'll stop trying to be liked and start working on being trusted, game over, you'll list a bunch more houses. Okay. Same thing is true with your sphere of influence. Now, will they like you eventually? Probably. But here's the problem. Most real estate agents are high I on the DISC personality profile. They want to be liked. It's important to them that people like them. Guys, I got news for you. Quit worrying about that, because it doesn't matter if they like you or not. Okay. All that matters is they've got to trust you, and you will get enough people like you over time. You'll be fine. If you need somebody to like you, get married, okay. Maybe that's not always the case for everybody, but it has been for me. I've been very fortunate. My wife likes me, so I'm good with that. So that said, we're going to do these events, but the big thing is 3 weeks before the event, what we're going to do is we're going to call everybody up and we're going to use Ford, right?
That's right.
Now, what does Ford stand for? A lot of people are like, oh, wait a minute. That's like fix or repair daily, found on road.
That was a truck.
Yeah, right. You have an F-150?
I've had Fords, and everybody said fix or repair daily, and no, that was not the case. So
I always like to tell people, you know why the F-150 front seats fold flat now, right?
Why?
So you can take a nap while you're waiting for the tow truck. I'm just kidding. I'm joking, dude. But watch this. That stands for family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. Family, occupation, recreation, dreams. So here's what you're going to do. 3 weeks before your event, you're going to call every single person in your sphere of influence. You're going to build a relationship on trust using, by asking them open-ended questions about their family, occupation, recreation, dreams. Don't even bring up your event. In fact, don't even bring up real estate. They already know that you're in real estate. They already know that you've got an event coming up because of all the marketing you've done. Here's the thing. Make the call about them. That's it. Make it about them. Care about them. Here's what's interesting. The worst thing you could do, let's say you call them up, you have a great phone call with them, and then toward the end of the call, you say something stupid like, oh, by the way, if you were thinking of buying or selling a home or had a friend or family member who was, do you have a realtor you'd refer them to? Dude, you sound like Gollum, right? My precious, right? I mean, come on, dude. That is the worst, most self-serving script on planet Earth. I don't care how great your cheesy Irish accent is. It's terrible. Stop using that script. What you've really told them is, hey, I don't really care about you. I care about me, right? Stop doing that garbage. See, here's the thing. People don't care what you know until they know that you
care about them.
And that is true, isn't it?
That's so true. That is so true.
And what's the best way we can show people we care about them? It's to actually care, right? It's and they can feel it. We don't have to make up stuff. We don't have to conjure up whatever. Just actually care about people and treat them like it. They'll feel it. And believe me, when you do that and you call up and you make that call 100% about them, game over, you're getting referrals. So there's some other things you can do. There's some other steps to this process that will help you with your sphere of influence. But I'll tell you right now, that right there, that's a huge chunk of it. If you just did that with your sphere of influence for 2 years, you'll double the number of referrals you're getting, at least.
So this is in my opinion, this is the number one system for sphere of influence to use to build relationships on trust, talking about them. I mean, that's what I say. That's what I say to people I work with. I said, what's the most important thing to the person you're going to talk to? Themselves.
That's right.
What is the best thing that they like to hear? Their name.
That's right.
Right? I mean, don't go freaking crazy with it, but you know what I mean, right?
That's right. No, you're 100% correct. You really are.
It's just, I mean, there's a match of your respect for them.
Mhm.
You're building relationships. You're also building respect. It goes right into that word relationship, which is so freaking important.
That's right.
So all right. So we've got those 5 things for
Mhm.
tier 1. What else should a tier 1 agent be doing to build their business?
All right. Well, this is stuff nobody likes hearing this, and I'm just going to tell your audience right now, guys. Everybody that's listening to me right now, you're going to hate what I'm going to say next.
This is my favorite part.
Here's the deal. I don't care if you hate me or not. I'm not here to get you to like me. Okay. I got my wife. She's the only person on this planet besides me that needs to like me. I don't even care. I mean, I'd like it if my kids liked me, but I'm their parent, not their friend. Right. And so at the end of the day, here's how it goes. Number 1, you need to go to a physical office every day. Oh, but Michael, I'm in a virtual brokerage. I don't care. Okay. That's why you're broke. All right. Not because of the brokerage you belong to, but because you're not going to a physical office every day. You need to go to an environment where there are other people besides just you sitting around, making phone calls, working hard for success. Okay. And when you're doing it in your house, here's what happens at home. Oh, but Michael, I work from home. I'm more effective there. No, you're not. Listen, I got news for you, Snowflake. You and I both know you're not more productive there, because what happens is you're like, okay, I'm going to go make calls now. And then, oh, wait a minute. Just before I do, I saw there was some laundry on the floor on my way to my home office. So I'm just going to throw the laundry in real quick. Oh, looks like I'm low on soap. I'm going to go to the pantry, go grab some more soap. Okay. Oh, and then I'm in there and oh my gosh, look at this. I'm just going to grab a drink while I'm in here because I'm a little thirsty. I just want to have something to drink while and since I'm in the fridge, man, that sandwich meat looks good. Maybe I'll just make myself a quick sandwich, right? Oh man, there's some dishes in the sink. I'm going to get that dishwasher load going so I can be effective while I'm prospecting. It's like doing double duty, right? Like this is what your day looks like. And you end up squirreling off on all this garbage stuff that's not making you money.
You know what's really funny, man, is like you're the fly on the wall of my house, but I'm working out of home. That's the same shit that happens to me. Look, I know I do a plan and prep session right before this broadcast every Friday. Yeah. And today I'm talking about, distractions and how I ask you questions because I need help, me helping me as well as me helping others so I can get different perspectives and be able to give it to them. And it's made me really good at what I do. And I know that this is the most distracting thing in the world for me and I have 80, I probably right now have about 25 or 30 tabs open on my computer. Why? Because I don't want to forget to do shit. Well, you know what? I did something the other day that has been open for 45 days easy, but I did it finally, right? I didn't forget it. But here's the point, man. If I'm doing agent attraction, whatever, I want to go check out an agent, really get to know them a little bit before I call them. I'll get distracted on social media because that's where I went. And sometimes I forget what the hell I'm doing. So dudes and dudettes, close all your tabs or open up a new tab that covers that whole new screen that covers that whole one and just work off of one. That's the best way to do it because distractions will freaking kill you.
Well, and to your point, guess what the number one distraction in the world is today?
I'm going to say social media.
100%. Nothing even close. Nothing's even remotely close. And so I would suggest, if I were you guys, I would recommend no social media until after 12 o'clock. Period. End of story. I wouldn't touch social media until after 12 o'clock if I were you. Why? Because the vast majority of human beings, once they get into social media, they're going to stay in social media all day. And it's very difficult to pull away from it. And so that said, go to a physical office and get there early in the morning. So this is another thing. Most people, first of all, the vast majority of people watching this are working from home. Okay. All right. I get it. But still, again, you got to fix that. So let's say that you're going to a physical office. Even the ones that are going to a physical office are usually not getting there before 9 o'clock. Here's what I'm going to suggest. You want to make more money? Show up to a physical office every day by 7:30 every morning. Now, as I say that, I got the moms and the single moms out there. Oh, but Michael, I got to drop my kids off at school. Okay. I get it. First of all, if you're married, have your husband do that. I guarantee he's not doing anything productive that time of day anyway. Might as well have him do it, right? Oh, but Michael, he makes more money than I do. Well, listen, if you were following my advice, that won't be the case for long.
Exactly.
Okay. Like I'll get you making way more than him and way easier than him. And he'll end up working for you at some point. Right. So there's that. Now, if you're a single mom, and I always say this, I love single moms, but as I say that, I gotta be careful because it sounds really bad. I was raised by a single mom. I have a lot of respect for single moms. And let me tell you, you want something done? Give it to a single mom because she ain't messing around, man. She's got stuff to do. She's got babies to feed. She's going to figure it out, right? Now, if I'm a single mom and I've got to drop my kids off at school, okay, fine. Then you get dressed and ready for the day. You drop them off and you head straight to the office. That's what you do, okay? Now, if you can develop that level of discipline and then you get to the office, perfect case scenario, I'm there at 7:30, from 7:30 to 8. I'm doing a daily huddle with my team. If I'm not on a team, I should be joining a team. If I'm not going to do that, then at least get into coaching with us and do, like, we have a daily huddle you can participate in that we specifically have for people that are just solo agents, don't have a team. But you need daily accountability. And by the way, if you're not going to do any of that, then at the very least, find somebody that you can have as accountability partners. Okay. But every single day you need accountability. You need motivation. You got to get your bucket filled because, dude, you're filling everybody else's bucket all day long.
Right.
You need somebody to fill yours once in a while. Okay. I mean, it's just reality. All right. So then I'm at 7:30 to 8. I'm going to do that. And then 8 o'clock till noon. There's only two things I do. That's lead generation and lead follow-up. That's it. There's nothing else from 8 o'clock till noon. Now, I say that 99.9% of the people watching this right now will not do what I just said. They won't do it. But here's the thing you guys got to realize. That's why most of you won't make it. That's why most of you will not be in this business in 2 years. Now, I'm just telling you, like, it's not a forever thing. You don't have to make this number of calls all day, all the time forever. At some point in time, you'll have the money to be able to pay other people to make the calls. That's what ISAs are for. And that's, if you join the right teams, a lot of times those teams will provide you with ISAs that will make those calls for you and set the appointments for you. Those opportunities exist out there. And certainly we can help you find great opportunities like that. But at the end of the day, understand that somebody's got to pick up the phone and make the calls. And a lot of people are thinking right now, oh, but Michael, aren't robo-dialers, isn't voice AI going to take that over? Man, we are already seeing AI fatigue. And I think AI fatigue is going to become a much bigger thing than anybody's talking about right now. The more people use AI, the more people are going to long for human connection. In fact, I'll bet almost everybody watching this call today, I'll bet almost every one of you has received a phone call from voice AI. And I would bet that everybody on this call, whether it be an AI call or a real person call, has probably asked, hey, are you AI? Right? Think about that. Why are you asking that question? And why is everybody else asking that question? Because nobody wants to talk to AI. It was novel at first. And it was fun and interesting. And it was kind of, whatever. But now people want human connection. So we got to lean into that. Go ahead.
Yeah. So as we start growing, right? So we start growing our business. We're in 0 to 25 and we're growing into that 20 to 25. What's the step where you know that you need to do something differently, where you need to grow to a point where you hire that assistant? Because you don't want to overextend what you're doing. You don't want to overextend yourself. Are you taking an audit of yourself and talking about dollar per hour tasks and stuff like that? What's the next step after the 0 to 25?
So there's kind of a couple of questions in there. Let's first talk about, when do I hire that first assistant? Right. Okay. And the answer comes down to breakfast. And people are thinking, what do you mean breakfast? What do you think about breakfast? You got besides yourself, you got two major players in breakfast. You got the bacon and you got the eggs, right? You got the chicken and you got the pig. Who's committed to breakfast and who's interested in breakfast, right?
The pig's committed.
The pig's committed. The chicken's just interested, right?
Yes, sir.
Let that analogy sink in, because here's the reality. Most people are just interested in real estate. They're not truly committed to it. And what that means is, the pig, they gave their life for breakfast. They did what it took. The chicken's just, well, here's a couple eggs. We'll see how it goes, right? When you're as committed as the pig, you're ready to hire an assistant. I don't care if you can afford it or not. If you don't, and write this down, everybody should write this down. If you don't have an assistant, you are one. Okay. Period. End of story. If you don't have an assistant, you're doing assistant tasks, which means you are the assistant. Okay. And so I hired an assistant before I could afford it, and it paid off, but I was committed. I showed up every day. I was disciplined. I had, and so we talk about systems. We'll layer in systems later, but I can take somebody with zero systems whatsoever And if I can get them committed and if I can get them consistently showing up and in the right habits every day, guess what will happen? We'll develop the systems as we go. We'll get better and dial those systems as we go.
Exactly.
I mean, that's how it works. But at the end of the day, you've got to be showing up every day. In fact, I want you guys to write this down. Well, before I give you the sentence to write down, I want you to think about this. We don't get to choose our outcomes. We choose our habits, and our habits choose our outcomes. So write this down. Habits dictate outcomes. Period. End of story. That's it. Habits dictate outcomes. And, if I say, hey, I want to be in really good shape, well, I got to do two things. I got to eat right and I got to exercise. That's it. It's not rocket science. I mean, I don't care. I just saved you millions of dollars on books and tapes and trainers and blah, 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 blah. Because I got news for you. If you're not willing to do those two things, you're not going to be in great shape. End of story, right? Same thing's true for your business. If you're not willing to consistently commit to doing the things every single day in your business that it's going to take to succeed, you're wasting your time. Now, if you are that disciplined and if you're going to be that disciplined, then hire the assistant right now. And that's going to take you to tier 2. All you need is that one assistant. And you'll be able to get into that 25 to 75 transaction range without question if you're disciplined. So does that make sense, Dave?
Oh, it makes a hell of a lot of sense. I mean, you have to know. You have to know you have to know a breaking point almost, right? I mean, if you're going nuts and stuff, and at that point, I know a lot of people that can do 25 on their own. And also, Michael, I'm sure you'll agree that if you're with a team, they're going to have some support systems in place for you already. So you're already set up for success in that team because the support is there as you move along, right? I know with the line team I'm the growth manager of, I know that we've got the TC support, we've got all the other technical stuff and people there that people are growing. I've seen agents go from 20 million to 30 million in a year. I've seen go from 10 to 25 in a year.
That's right.
Because that support system is built in. And then they start to get, then what it is, Michael, it's this oh, right. Yeah, okay. And then they take off like a hockey stick, right?
Hang on really quick. Before we move on from that, I want to touch on this because you're hitting on some very important points. I will go so far as to say anybody in this business that is in tier 1 right now, the best thing you could do for your business is join a team. It will shortcut your learning curve by 5 to 10 years, especially if you're on the right team. It will be the fastest path to cash. And by the way, 51% of all the transactions that closed in 2021 involved one of the top 10% of teams. Let that sink in. That's just the top 10%. Teams have taken over this industry and it's consolidating into bigger and bigger teams all the time. In fact, Zillow did a study that proves what I've been telling people for 34 years. And that is that I can take a solo agent and if I put them on a team, even after paying team splits, if I can get them to focus on either working on buyers or sellers and not both, they will literally net 25% more on the team than they did as a solo agent while working no more hours.
But Michael, that doesn't make sense. I'm going to be doing more work. Well, I don't understand. Why am I going to get more money when I'm going to be doing more business because they're going to get all this money from me?
Yeah, because you're going to be 1,000 times more efficient. You're not going to be doing assistant tasks. You're not going to be having to reinvent the wheel. You're not going to be spending money on things that you don't understand. You're going to be testing systems. You're going to be working in a tried and true and proven system. I'll give you a great example. So my son right now, his name is Austin. And Dave, you know him. Austin is the #1 listing agent on planet Earth right now. The kid's a beast, right? As a 19-year-old kid, first year in the business, he listed 97 homes. Second year in the business, 124 homes. Third year in the business, 164 homes. That was last year. Now he's building a team. He's got this big national team now. And I'm telling you, the guys that join his team, dude, they're listing in their first month with a real estate license. They're listing on average 5 or more houses in their first month. Guys, these are people that literally just got their license. Why are they able to do that? I can guarantee you that 99% of the people watching this did not list 5 homes in their first month. He's got guys that do 9 or 10 homes in their first month as a real estate agent. Why is that? The systems are there. The process is there. All you have to do is pick up the phone, make this call, go on this appointment, say this thing, hand it off. And sometimes it's not even pick up the phone and make this call. Sometimes it's just here's some appointments to go on. Say this when you get there, bring it back signed, and we'll take care of it. Guys, you're overthinking the business. And by the way, a lot of that, Dave, is ego. A lot of it is, oh, but I want my name on the sign and I want to be the rock star and blah, blah,
I
blah.
couldn't give two shits. I couldn't care.
Right. Show me the freaking money, man. I don't care about any of that stuff. Give me the check.
So okay. So the question is always going to come up from that tier one agent, whatever tier you're on. Doing 9 listings a month in their first month. But what kind of leads are there? Where are the leads coming from? How are they getting the leads? Who are they calling? I mean, there's just so many agents in our area. We're saturated with agents, and how's he getting 9 listings in his first month? What's the answer there, Michael?
Here's the answer. You're asking the wrong questions. Stop asking about the nuance and the details of all the things that you're being told, and ask, what do you want me to do next? And go freaking do it. Because I'm telling you right now, if you're on a team of any reputation whatsoever, if you're on a team that's even remotely good, the team leader, and by the way, there's lots of great team leaders out there. There's lots of them. And if you've got a team leader worth their salt, they're going to tell you exactly what to do every single day. They're going to give you the scripting. They're going to give you the people to call. Don't question the leads, because I got news for you. The leads don't suck. You do. Let's be real.
Sorry.
I mean, it's true though, right, Dave? I mean, the reality is it's not about the leads. It's about, do you do the things that your team leader is showing you? So here's the thing. We've got a list of questions we recommend you ask when you're interviewing teams, but I'll give you an example. One of the things you want to look at is, what is the success level of the people on the team? Does this team have a track record of helping people be successful? If they do, shut your mouth and do exactly what they tell you to do.
Right.
I'll tell you, Austin had a call yesterday with an agent. It was so funny. This kid was out of Utah, and this kid, he's like, well, Austin, I'll tell you what, I'll be happy to go do your listing appointments, but I want you to, I'll just pay you a 30% referral fee. And, that's all I'm willing to do, and blah, blah. And he's talking like he's been in the business for 30 years and has all this experience. And Austin's like, let me ask you a question. How many houses have you sold in your entire career? Well, none. Then shut your darn mouth and just freaking learn from somebody who's been where you want to go. Develop some humility. Dude, the ego of the people sometimes getting into this business is astounding. It's like, guys, you have done nothing and you want to dictate what splits you're going to get? Look, dude, let's get you on an appointment. Let's get you to pick up the phone. Let's get you to actually list a house. And then let's show you how to really make a lot of money. And then when we make you a lot of money, let's show you how to invest it in real estate so you can actually build wealth, so you can retire one day. Those are the conversations we should be having. But the problem is you got the tail wagging the dog half the time, and they have no clue what they're doing. Does that make sense?
Oh, hell yeah, it makes a lot of sense, right? So, I mean, look, a lot of people that will watch this are going to get a couple of great takeaways away from this broadcast, right? Show up is really important. Start doing the work, and you gave the 5 things that people should be doing, right? So, when it comes down to it, you've coached a lot of agents. It all boils down to if it had to boil down to a couple of things, especially for you and how you've helped your son, what would that be?
Number 1, get a coach, get the right coach. And I mean, obviously I'm biased because I own Club Wealth, and I'm not saying that I don't care if anybody on this call
exactly
coaching that, but I don't need your money. Right. But that being said, your coach better be somebody who has been where you want to go. They better have sold as much real estate and made as much money and lived the lifestyle that you want to live. And that's an important piece. In fact, write this down just very fast. I want to throw this out anecdotally. It's the most important thing you guys can learn from me. And that is, no success in the world can compensate for failure in the home. Everybody write that down. No success in the world can compensate for failure in the home. Guys, there's a lot of people that will tell you just to grind it out and work hard and blah, blah, blah. It's just, grind. And I'm telling you right now, I'm all about making you wealthy. I'm all about helping you make millions, but not at the cost of your family. Okay. And so we've got to make sure that we understand how can we do both. And we need to structure our lives in the way, and our lives and our business in a way that allows us to have success in both. So that being said, number 1, get the right coach, do exactly what they tell you to do. Don't freaking argue with them. Just go do it. They know better than you. Trust them. Do that. Now, in that process, I would consider it, for most of you, I'd love to see most of you join a great real estate team. Okay. Those of you that, if you're not going to join a team, then you need that coach. Okay. Now, after that, you got to develop the perfect daily schedule. That means you're going to develop a schedule that's going to ensure your success if all you do is follow it. And then you got to follow it. And it's every single day, no matter what, showing up at the same time, doing the exact same boring stuff every single day, 5 days a week. When you're in tier 1 and tier 2, that's what it takes. In fact, write this down. Success is boring. Success is boring. Look at me. I'm the most boring guy in the world. I've sold more homes, more single family resale homes than any human being to walk the planet. I'm the most boring person you're ever going to meet. But guess what? I've also made millions and millions and millions of dollars because I'm willing to do the boring stuff every single day. And by the way, I've coached literally the top agents around the country. Guess what they do? Like names, you would recognize names. You all would recognize the names of the people I've coached. I'm talking CEOs of your companies. I'm talking like people you'd know. Guess what all of them have in common? They do the boring stuff. They're willing to be in the grind as long as it takes to get where they want to go. Now, the good news is there's also a way that you can do that and have balance to some degree, right? You can have your great family life. You can have your great spiritual life. You can have your health. You can have all these things and make a ton of money. But you've got to develop the schedule that's going to cause you to do that and the habits on a daily basis.
Hell yeah. Yeah. And the thing about the schedule, I want to talk about boring stuff real quick, right? So there's a lot of boring stuff that you have to do day after day after day after day. But one of the things I'm going to tell you to do, everybody here is watching this and will watch this, is that boring stuff does not have to be the only stuff, right? There could be something that energizes you. For me, it took me years to figure out what I really, truly, I knew what it was. I just didn't do it. Now I know what I really love to do. So I'm doing a lot of the boring stuff, but that energizes me and keeps me going for other stuff. And I always have it on my schedule to do it. And now getting on as old as I get, I know I've got to learn a lot more. So I have 30% of my time set up for learning. It's so important for me because I have no choice. I need to learn more and more and more and stay up on everything. Always had it. I always will. Michael, this has been a great conversation today. There are just so many things that I'd love to talk to you about. I got pages and pages of notes from not only today, but my preparation for us to talk. I got 2 things left for us, man. One is a question and one is a statement. How do I, Dave Fanale, help you, Michael Hellickson, grow your business?
Oh, I'm good. I appreciate the question. I really do. It's just, I'm not worried about growing my business. Just help agents get into the right habits. That's all. Just if we can get agents into the right habits, then we can start building a life worth living with them. And so that's enough for me, dude. That's all.
Well, I want to thank you again for coming on. And of course, let's not forget, you were on episode 115, which is if I knew my math, 266 episodes ago, which is over 5 years ago. Too long to wait to have you on. You got to come on sooner again.
Happy to.
Another hat's coming out to you, man. I want to thank you so much for coming on today. And next week, we have Janie Coffey coming on, who's a founder at Luxury Listing Society, coming on next week. That's going to be fun. I am so excited to have had today. I got tomorrow. And thank God for you, Michael. And thank God for everybody watching this broadcast. Michael, just stay on a minute as we go out. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next week. Hey!